Let's see how the BBC mangles Mother's Day. Now, in general, the BBC isn't big on Mother's Day at all. It doesn't like the idea of celebrating mothers or motherhood. So on Mother's Day, it talks about the history of Mother's Day and maybe ideas for things to do on Mother's Day, but not actually content celebrating mothers or motherhood. As far as the BBC is concerned, Mother's Day is a bit old-fashioned. It's a bit unfeminist, really. It focuses on traditional gender role a little bit too much. So what the BBC really love is International Women's Day. On International Women's Day, you can celebrate anything and everything that women do apart from nurturing the next generation. But recently this year, for International Women's Day, the BBC produced something about mums. I know it wasn't for Mother's Day, but it's the closest we're going to get from the BBC. So this is for CBeebies, in other words, aged 1 to 6. And the BBC is going to tell these 1 to 6-year-olds about inspirational mums, maybe role models for the future, celebrating the stories and achievements of inspirational mums. So let's look at the first inspirational mums, shall we? Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera were transgender drag queens and drag mothers to the Star House, provided a home, food, clothing and a sense of family to many LGBTQ plus kids made homeless by their biological families. So these two men were revolutionary LGBTQ plus rights activists, and they mothered, in inverted commas, the Star House in New York. STAR stood for Street Transvestite Action Revolutionaries. It was a gay, gender non-conforming and transvestite street activist organisation founded in 1970, radical political collective that also provided housing and support to homeless youth and prostitutes in Lower Manhattan. Rivera and Johnson were the mothers, so-called, of this household and funded the organisation largely through prostitution. It started in 1970 and it closed in 1971. So the BBC, they're inspirational mums. They're presenting two male trans prostitutes who took in teenagers into what no doubt was a terrible, corrupting environment for 1 year only. I mean, are they mothers in any sense of the word? Absolutely not. I mean, the phrase drag mother, that's about as meaningful as dry water or silent noise. Anyway, let's go down the list. Who have the BBC got next to be inspirational role models for mothers? Well, we've got Maya Angelou. It says, when Dr. Angelou became pregnant at the age of 16, her mother was nothing but supportive. So, okay, becoming a single mum at 16 is not really ideal, but okay, she might have been a good mum, her mother supported her. Okay, that's fine. What else do we know about Maya Angelou? Well, also, she worked as a prostitute. She was a great supporter and associate of the race-hate stirring Malcolm X, and she was also a left-wing activist. And obviously, they're the things that qualify her to be an inspirational mother as far as the BBC is concerned. Right, next one. Holly Willoughby. Holly juggles a TV career whilst raising her kids. If she just raised her kids, well, that's not inspirational. That's what like boring, ordinary mums do. But if you have a TV career as well, you become an inspirational mum, says the BBC. Right, the next two, Jasmine and Donna Francis Smith. Two mums we've got here. And they carry a baby in both wombs through the shared motherhood procedure. Donna said that the process brought the couple closer together emotionally and that they both have a special bond with their son Otis, who they welcomed into the world last year. So this shared motherhood procedure, I don't quite understand it, I'm not sure I particularly want to, but it works by placing the eggs of the biological mother inside a miniature capsule which is inserted into a womb where they're incubated. After that, the eggs are taken out of the biological mother's womb and placed in the womb of the birth mother. The process is called in vivo natural, I don't know where they get the word natural from, fertilization, which was pioneered by a Swiss firm, who are obviously making money out of it. So these two women have produced a fatherless child, but as far as the BBC are concerned, an inspirational role model of a mother to present to 1 to 6-year-olds. And the next, Stacey Solomon, says, I'm feeling really happy today, which is amazing, but I'm ready to accept any sobbing or sadness that sneaks on me at any point. If it does, I'm no less of a mother for feeling that way. Right, okay. Let's look at her background as a mother. She had her first son aged 18 with one man, then had a second son 4 years later with another man, and then had 3 other children with another man later. Now, in terms of being a role model for motherhood, she might be a really good mum, but that's not really the ideal way of going about it. Okay, next one. Sojourner Truth escaped slavery with her daughter in Ulster County in 1826. This is in America. She became the first black woman to win a court case against a white man after her 5-year-old son was illegally sold to a man in Alabama. Okay, good story. Yeah, and that is related to being the mother. She stood up for her children. Great. What the report fails to admit is a massive dominating theme in the life of Sojourner Truth was that she was a Christian evangelist. Doesn't get a mention in the BBC, of course. Right, the next one. Irina Sendler, a social worker from Poland, smuggled almost 2,500 Jewish children out of the Warsaw Ghetto during the Holocaust and placed them with Polish families, saving their lives. Mother of 3 was also named Mother of the Children of the Holocaust by a historian with that name. Despite being arrested and tortured by the Nazis, Sendler didn't reveal the whereabouts of the children, keeping them safe during the war. What a hero. Absolute hero, but it's not particularly connected with her being a mother. So like being a mother, that doesn't make you a hero. That's just, you need something else to actually be an inspirational mother. Right, who's next? Michelle Obama. I love our daughters more than anything in the world, more than life itself. While that may not be the first thing that some folk want to hear from an Ivy League educated lawyer, it's truly who I am. So for me, being mum-in-chief is, and always will be, job number 1. As well as obtaining 2 Ivy League degrees and raising 2 daughters, Obama has campaigned for gender equality and healthier lifestyles for children throughout her career. That's interesting, isn't it? Mum-in-chief. That just reminds me of Nicola Sturgeon calling herself the chief mammy, doesn't it? So Michelle Obama, a bit of a left-wing activist, but what really makes her a special mum? Well, it's because she was a feminist and a lawyer. So as far as the BBC is concerned, these are the inspirational mothers. But I've got a message for just the boring, ordinary mums. You know, the sort who just commit their lives to their children, caring for them and nurturing them, maybe for other ambitions on hold. Probably have the children the good old-fashioned way, or adopt them, and then get on with doing the most important job in the world. Now, G.K. Chesterton said, how can it be broad to be the same thing to everyone and narrow to be everything to someone? And I think the BBC just doesn't get that. I think for a mother to be everything that her own children need is a fantastic thing, and that's a really inspirational thing. Whereas the BBC, that's sort of insignificant. Being everything to your own children is insignificant. To be significant and inspiring, you need to do something outside that to make your life really, really valuable. And the BBC is pushing this on to, say, 1 to 6-year-olds, CBeebies content, pushing their progressive agenda, belittling motherhood as a real achievement, and suggesting you've got to do something alongside it to actually be worthwhile. So my message, I'd like to say Happy Mother's Day to all mums. You don't need to be doing some other really allegedly important things to be an inspirational mum. You need to inspire, nurture and care for your own children, which is exactly what mums do. And it's such an important job that we have a day to celebrate it. So happy Mother's Day.